was just telling Greg a second ago that I've been to a lot of conferences. Can everybody hear? Yeah, good. All right. I'm pretty loud anyway, but I've been to a lot of conferences, and the funny thing is that the best sessions are the sessions where you actually get to meet people who are successfully doing things, but everybody still gravitates to the what do venture capitalists want, how do I get funding for my business, and we were just joking. I said, you know, if there's 100 people in the room for those things, 99 of them it doesn't apply to, and the one that it does, they already know the answer. So it's like, what the heck are you guys doing? You need to be here meeting the people who know what they're doing. But I digress. I want to introduce you guys to our three of our 4 Innov8 winners. So Joey Como from Cover 6. Stephanie, I forgot your last name. Knott. Stephanie Knott from Bayou Tesh Brewing, LA 31, personal fan. And then George Marks from Nunu's Arts and Cultural Creative as well. So these guys were awarded on Thursday at the ABIZ Entrepreneur of the Year Summit, and they are our Innov8 Award winners, like I said, for 2015. What we're going to do, we're just going to do kind of a little Q&A with you guys. So just so everybody knows the ground rules, if there's anything you don't want to answer, just plead the fifth, right? But we're going to play a little game. I'm going to walk around the room. I'm actually going to start walking. My ADD kicks in real early. So we're just going to kind of go through some questions. So I'm going to start. We'll start with Joey. We'll move across, and then I'll start kind of handpicking you guys. But we'll do some fun questions, some serious questions, and then if there's any questions that I haven't asked that you do want me to ask, we'll do those, and then we can probably open it up to some audience questions as well. So the first thing I want to know though is just tell me a little bit about the business, and then tell me your involvement, like your role. And let me frame that. We kind of talk about like deal makers, technicians, administrators, right? So your role within the company as far as that, not to say, well, I'm the CEO, I do this, but I'm the deal maker, or I'm the one who builds the product, or, you know, so we kind of understand your specific place in the company as well. So Joey, if you would.
Sure. Cover 6 is an active shooter training company. And what that means is we teach hospitals and a lot of private companies what to do if somebody should walk in with a weapon. There's an old way to do it, there's a new way to do it, and we teach people a new way to do it, hopefully save as many lives as possible. My job is to go out and get the business. I had to hire the trainers, and then I build a curriculum that matches the hospital, the school, the oil field company, or the private business of what they need. So I go out every day and get you business.
Very good. Stephanie.
Should have thinking of my answer. Well, we're a small family business, so pretty much every one of us does all sorts of things. We started our business 5 years ago. It's my husband, his brothers, our sister-in-law, me, our son, various other family members and some employees. I would say I manage and operate day-to-day operations, and essentially help put together a team, put together a facility, everything to kind of all those pieces to get things working, and try to find the right people to brew, pack, everything that needs to get done. But as a small business owner, there's very little that I don't do or won't do. Yesterday, I ran beer. We usually ship common carrier, but it's legal for us to deliver ourselves. We don't have a truck. I ran beer to New Orleans because Carlos promised it, but he had to work the line, packaging line. So I ran beer to New Orleans and unloaded kegs from the back of the car so they wouldn't run out over the weekend. And the guy helping me said, "This isn't a job for a lady." I thought, if you only knew.
I was actually thinking that my house somehow has to be on the way to New Orleans, and that there is a keg that should have been dropped off at some point.
I stressed the limit. I don't know if I was supposed to put 1,000 pounds of beer in a Nissan, but it made it. I hope that answers your question, but pretty much.
No, that's great.
Building a business and keeping it going.
Perfect. All right. Sure.
So, my name's George, and I'm the co-developer of Nunu's Arts and Culture Collective. We're a nonprofit organization that connects the business sector, the governmental sector, the nonprofit sector, and civil society to come up with creative solutions to everyday problems. So what does that mean, right? So I'll give you an example. A local concrete company needs has an issue with sound abatement or sound issues. We come in and we look at the setup and how we can better create a better environment for them to do their everyday business. We bring in artists, we bring in, folks that have outside the environment to create, a cultural or art, public piece that then references that to make it a better piece in the community. So we also work at establishing artist residencies. We like to call them creative in residencies, just because it doesn't focus just on visual artists. Anyone who has a creative solution to a problem are able to plug into our programs in our facility. I can go on and on. We leverage the role of the artists in society, actually looking at them as an entrepreneur rather than just someone who paints. Try to create opportunities for them to sell their work, but also how to connect them to partners, in different areas. I like to call myself a social sculptor. So the idea of instead of when I see people and I see businesses or governmental entities, I see them as almost like colors, and how I mix those colors and see what possibly might come or grow out of it. So I'm still an artist. It's just that, instead of just using my technique on a canvas, I'm actually doing it in society. So
Pretty cool.
also kind of a troublemaker too. You kind of, it's the one that
I think we all feel that.
the squeaky wheel.
Christina, I think we're akin there a little bit too.
So we're both from Arnaville.
We're both from Arnaville.
And it's great because I remember when, I started hearing about George. It's been, God, forever. Right?
10 years.
Yeah, a long time ago. Started hearing, and not everybody liked it. I thought, this sounds kind of exciting. Something new is happening. And I think it's a bit before we open our brewery. So it's kind of cool to be in a small town. We are a small town. But there's a lot of interesting things going on, and every time when I talk to people, I'll hear, I go to New News, or I go to Little Big Cup, or Myron's, or there's just maybe 20 businesses.
And they kind of do the same thing with beer. They've taken a product. For us, we focus primarily on the art piece, and the French piece, and the environmental piece. Francine, come sit up here with me. This is Francine Primo. She's
the schedule said Lita, so I went to Lita. And I'm like, where are you?
Really, really, really close. About 100 yards away.
So Francine is our the project director of our tiny house project, which is our now creative and residence space. But she focuses primarily on the kind of environmental piece at New News, which is the newest component to what we're doing. And say hi, Francine Primo Kennedy.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for getting my name right. That's what happens when you have a hyphenated last
who's
name.
a chemist, now studied architecture, so it's a really unique mix.
Yeah, it's sort of a full circle thing for me, because I worked in chemical industry, and then from there I went into safety, health, environmental, and quality. It's like the different sides of the same coin, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen the worst, and I want to see the best. So,
Very cool. Oops, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So, if anybody was at the Entrepreneur Summit the other day, I just dropped everything. You may have heard these questions. You guys might remember these questions from the other day. But as entrepreneurs, one of the inevitable things that we run into is failure, right? Now, a lot of us don't look at it like that, but we fall on our face on occasion, or misses, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I want to hear from each of you guys is, from the business, tell me your worst moment. Describe it to us, tell us about it, and then tell us kind of what came from that as well. So if we want, we can start with Bill.
So 6 years ago, the organization that we built burned to the ground, completely. And so we actually had a meeting planned on the Monday. This was on a Sunday. On the Monday, we had a meeting planned with the office representatives from the Office of Cultural Development, which is the Lieutenant Governor's office. And so I called and said, hey, it's over, And so they came in and they said, no, it's just going to be a different type of meeting. So for about 15 minutes, we decided that we weren't going to rebuild. And it was from the massive amount of people within not only the community, but within, the state. Yeah, we were the lead story in USA, from Louisiana and USA Today. When we saw that, we were like, wow. I mean, so we've actually had impact over the last 5 years. What we learned from that was it gave us an opportunity to really kind of redefine who we were. As bad as it was kind of an opportunity, a cleansing moment for us. And we were able to really look at the direction that we wanted to go in, and we knew that we wanted to connect people, you know, and projects, and improve the quality of life in the Orneville area. As a result of that, you know, we've helped to impact the sales tax collection in town by 43%. That's an increase, which is phenomenal. So when the rest of Louisiana was going like this, Orneville did this. And it's not directly from us. It's just it's an indirect sales collection. They come into maybe Business News. What we try to do is we try to market as much as possible. This is a perfect example.
Oh, yeah.
So when they have an event, we latch on and we say, Biotech Brewery has blah, 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 blah. You know, come in, go eat a Little Big Cup, you know, go to the brewery, you know, stop at these places, you know, to try to capture as much as that tax revenue as possible in the community. So for us, it was that opportunity to redefine, not redefine, but just kind of figure out who we were, you know, and to edit out the things that didn't work and really maximize the things that did work. So
Very cool. Stephanie, how about you?
There's a lot of low moments, but it's an endless struggle. I think every small business person, you're going to have low moments, but even at the worst point, I have 100% confidence in our success and fiscal success too, which is a very difficult thing to make in I guess, capital-intensive environment. So I should be trying to find out how to get funding next door to be in that. The low note probably was about 2 years in. Our company started pretty organically. My husband was a home brewer years ago. We lived in Germany, we lived in Washington State. So it began, we started our business with the concept of something fun. There was a lot of planning around the kitchen table. My husband and his two brothers, you know, we're gonna design a brewery, we're gonna make a brewery. And it came to fruition, but we started in a very small building with about 800 square feet. It's a converted rail car. It was from one of my brother-in-laws. We converted it. I wasn't that involved in the planning. I guess I'm getting a little off track. But in any case, when I asked Carlos, okay, Carlos, how much beer can we make out of this building? He told me. I was so angry. I'm just like, I was so mad because I'm like, really? But in any case, we had the opportunity to grow and expand, and we did so, and we funded it pretty much with our money and family money. And about 2 years in, we really thought we'll just brew a little bit. We'll get one. We didn't even know you had to have a distributor. This state is a 3-tier state. We sell to a distributor who sells to bars and retailers. But we learned a lot. You know, that's how you learn as you start doing things and making tons of mistakes and failing and getting back up, because that's life. But about 2 years in, we built a bigger facility. It's about 8,000 square feet. You know, a serious commercial facility. We got the equipment we needed. Everything worked out. Essentially, we built the facility. We're able to get financing using the facility as collateral to really get an infusion of cash to get the things that we needed to get going. But the one thing we lacked, the major piece of equipment, was a bottling line. And especially in certain markets, if you are we're in a pretty rural area, and Louisiana's fairly spread out. If you're a business like ours, a lot of your sales are going to come from packaged beer, bottles or cans, not necessarily draft. So we were in a position, and I guess I have to back up a little bit. When we started our business, we thought we'd be just very small. We started having distributors like knocking on our door, bud houses in Louisiana. They tried, I think Mr. Herbie Schilling was the first one to send someone out to call on us and find our brewery. They went to Timmy's, the gas station, and said, hey, where's the brewery in town? And Timmy's like, oh, that's Mr. Not Boys. send them down. So to our tiny 800 square foot facility. But in any case, once distributors started calling, we had to have a way to manufacture beer. We could either say we're going to wait till we get our full-on manufacturing facility going, or we're going to find someone to try to contract brew. So it wasn't from the beginning planned, oh, we'll just go do this. You know, it was very organic is the word, because, you know, it's by the seat of your pants. But in any case, we found a brewery to contract for us, which was fine. But once we had to put our capital into getting all the equipment, getting the building in place, everything you need, it took about 2 years. We're finally up and running. But the one piece of equipment that we could not buy was a decent bottling line. So in this sense, we had all the overhead of running our own business, yet still having to pay someone to brew and package our bottled beer. And you know, it was very money draining. I don't know, that's a terrible sentence. It was very much a drain on all of our finances. Resources and beyond that. It was pretty, it's very nerve-wracking. So that was the low point, but still knowing like we're almost there. If I can get a decent, I mean, we can get a decent bottling line. I did purchase one. We worked for months to try to get it going. It just was not happening. But in the interim, we had met through my brother-in-law some potential investors who came to the brewery. He did a presentation for them. So the low point was thinking, we are more than out of money. How is this going to happen? We can't keep going like this. But we had met some investors. They came in. I think they were looking for a much bigger company. But we started a conversation. I invited them to some events that we were doing in DC, and different events going on. So the low point was not knowing how we were going to be able to afford this equipment, and then the high point was having some investment capital come into our company that allowed us to stay, enough time to get that line purchased and start putting beer out. I'm sorry for such a long answer, but it was very, and probably you guys don't air that anywhere, but just not knowing how you're going to make it, but just struggling, and then finally, what's that?
I said we'll give you editing.
Edit all that out.
I think that's fair, though. I mean, those are the real stories that, for everybody in the room who's taken on an entrepreneurial venture, they are never easy stories. There's always 10 different hands in the pot, and you're trying to balance out your time, your life, your sanity, your cash, and your workflow. And so I think what you said was a very appropriate story, and I think it probably gives us a lot of insight into what the reality is that you guys deal with, because a lot of people think, well, you just brew beer. I mean, everybody drinks beer, right? So brew it, send it out, and people will buy it, and it's never quite as easy as what people think.
I think nothing sells itself, so.
Correct.
Hey, can I say something?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to defend Carlos for a second, and with
defend Carlos.
I mean, the rail car. I mean, I don't think I would have the same company without it.
Oh,
I
no,
think,
I-
yeah, I'm kidding. But I
Creates
really,
culture.
it is, yeah, it is. I mean,
But we
it's-
did put a roof on it, and a garçon, is it called a garçonnier? So we thought, wow, we have neighbors with like nice houses that are like, we gotta kind of pretty up this rail car.
When they do a little documentary or whatever, like later on down the road, the rail car will be the center of it.
We had a lot of different national beer press, and
Correct.
the rail car. I remember.
Correct.
Yeah, it's crazy, because I asked Carlos one time, well, where's your business plan? He's like, it's all up here. I'm like, okay, Carlos.
There's a
All
whole
up
other
here.
class on that right there. So, my advice, that's a plan. That is a plan. So, all right, Joe, give us the same thing. Kind of
There's no judges
the
here
low,
from
the low
the
and
next
high.
part, right? There's
What's
no
that?
Judges, no judges here from the next part?
No.
So when we originally started the company, the idea was to train law enforcement and to get everybody more prepared on what to do should they get to an event that there's been a shootout. It hadn't really caught on, and we had a lot of investors that said, okay, we want to put up money, but we want kind of our money back like really, really fast. And we said, no, this business needs to grow and take wings, and it has to develop. Then budgets got cut pretty hard in Louisiana. That was around January, February, a lot of budgets got cut. So we said, okay, what do we do? Said, well, hospitals and schools are really taking a beating right now, and nobody knew about it. The press really wasn't picking it up real big. And then it kind of took off. And so for a while, we weren't really sure what we were going to do. Started talking to hospitals and some schools, and they said, yeah, it's a great idea, but it'll never happen in Louisiana. Well, July 23rd, 2015, we all learned that that's not true. That next morning, I signed 3 contracts. And from there, I'm the only active shooter training company registered in the state of Louisiana that is hired by the state of Louisiana. We've picked up various hospitals, schools, public companies, private companies. It doesn't stop. But for months, I said, I don't know what else to do. I'm not sure what it's going to do. We had investors I wanted to invest, but it wasn't what I'd call true investors. So finally, I just said, okay. I left my very good job in the oil field at the right time, fortunately. I left and put all my money in it, and I self-funded it. And I said, this is what we're going to do. I don't draw a salary. I put all the money back in. I do some part-time jobs with law enforcement because the kids still have to eat and the lights got to be paid. But right now, we're growing the business, and it's been a huge success because of an unfortunate event here. And now everybody believes, okay, it does happen here. It can. So. It was a low point for us, but it was a lower point for Lafayette and Louisiana that we were able to get involved with.
I think that brings up an interesting point. You know, it's hard to talk about things like that, but you know, opportunities don't always come from great things in the world, but it doesn't mean that it's not necessary. You know what I mean? If we want to talk about from a brewery or a cultural center, it's the absence of those things that are necessary. And necessary is all relative to the emotion, but if we don't embrace culture, if we don't find solutions, if we don't find innovative ways to brand our own flavors of food and culture, right, then it's all going to go away anyhow, and we'll be having the same, it's sad, but it's sadder because of all these other things. But opportunity doesn't always present itself, and when it is there, we need to be able to capitalize on it, even when it's in the face of something that is terrible. So, and I think now too, people have a greater appreciation through tragedy for what it is that your organization does as well. So, all right, so let's make a lighter note now, because it's always hard. They got me on Thursday with the same stuff. It's hard to come from a dark place to a bright place, but just like we talked about, kind of the hard side of the business. Let's talk about the aha moment, like where it clicked, right? And this is going to like the start, or the start of the idea. Describe the emotions, the feeling, the day, right? When you just went like, this is what we're going to do. It finally clicked, not when the business finally, created, but when you hit that moment where you said, this is it, this is what we're going to do. And you finally were all in on what it is that you're doing. And if we could, start with you, Joe.
It was the day that I made up my mind and said, listen, I've always worked for somebody, and I want to work for myself, and for me to be true to the company, to make this a success in Louisiana and hopefully to franchise it out. I have to give it my all. And I believed 100% in it, and I walked into my boss's office, and it's a guy that I've known my whole life, and I said, I'm sorry, thank y'all for the job, but I have to give my heart to what I believe in. And I turned in my notice right there, and I've never looked back.
We're going to share a story. I did something very similar a long time ago. Tears in my eyes. I walked away from a killer job to start something, which is a whole different bad story. So if you guys want to hear a really bad story, when you got $80,000 in personal credit card debt, you learn real quick that accounting is a very important part of a business, right? So anyhow, so Stephen, tell me the aha moment for you, right? Not for everybody else, but for you. So
I'm thinking, and my husband is actually our president and founder, and it's a family business. So he and his brothers did a lot of the planning and thought to start a brewery, because it was definitely not on my radar in analytics and finance and that kind of stuff. But I'm thinking for me, it was just seeing. My husband's always had various hobbies. This is the most expensive one yet, by the way. I just thought, I started thinking more about what they were doing and planning, and I thought, they all seemed very passionate about it, and I know I don't know if it was necessarily one moment, but I definitely thought, I believed that this could be an interesting thing for us to do. And I did. I gave up my job pretty early on because Carlos said, he asked me to do, he said, would you do this? Because it was getting, we founded the company, it was getting a bit busier, but I wasn't as involved. But I don't know if there was one particular moment, but definitely giving up my ability to earn an income, was one of those. I felt strongly enough like this can be successful, and I don't even know if I was thinking fiscally, but just a success with working with family, and I might, in hindsight, that might be a little different, but I guess the moment where I thought I'm gonna go all in, and then Carlos actually gave up his very nice job over a year ago, and that was very scary. But you're either in it or you're not. Even if it's part time, you can still be. You have to be 100% engaged in what you're doing or at that time. So I guess it was just realizing this could be a success, not thinking fiscally, but something fun to do too. So sorry.
Yeah, sometimes I think aha gets replaced with oh hell the next morning after school, and you wake up and you're like, oh, what did I do? But at that point, you're in. You're in. So all right, George, Francine, what was the aha moment for you guys?
So for me, one of our initiatives is to really work at developing French programming for French partners in Orneville, but also the surrounding areas. And we were summoned by the New Orleans Consul General to come and meet with him. And we were like, why? So we're sitting in the corner office, the manservant comes out with a tray, with a cup and saucer and a little teaspoon. I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna have to do a presentation while manipulating a cup and a saucer. and so I just kind of looked at it the whole time because I knew it was gonna rattle. So anyway, they said, tell us about everything you guys do. And I'm like, French program. And they're like, no, everything. We want to know everything. So what was supposed to be a half-hour meeting lasted for 3 hours. And they came back with all these ideas and these offers for partnerships and everything. And Mavis Gruchet was with me. And we walked out and we stood at the elevator to go downstairs and waited for the elevator and waited and waited, and the elevator never came. And then we both looked down and neither one of us had hit the button. That was the aha moment as far as, we knew that what we were doing had a profound impact, not just on the town of Orneville, but on an potentially an international scale. And since then, we've been working with not only the French government, but we're working with the province. We will be working with the province of Manitoba, Nova Scotia, Quebec, Haiti, Martinique, Guadeloupe, and Belgium.
Wow.
Out of Orneville.
Wow. I know when I had my aha moment for you guys right
Yeah.
now. Wow.
Okay.
We do have one light though in town. It's a 3-way light.
I love it. Francine, how about yours?
That's funny. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I'm mainly involved with the Tiny House Project, although I'm also the head of the English Garden Initiative, and I took an active role in the French Week, coordinating with the French school groups and high school students that came, which was really interesting. Probably my aha moment for the Tiny House Project, which, I've spent the majority of my time in Orneville since January, and I live in Youngsville, so that's a good drive. So that's quite a commitment, but was when I met our sponsor, Winifred Riley. And George is like, we're going to go meet in an Airstream. And I'm like, what? What kind of sponsor is this? So we head to Baton Rouge, and yes, we met in an Airstream in the lobby of Lamar. And it's a literal Airstream, and the lobby's quite large. And the building from the outside is what you call brutalist architecture. You drive past it and you don't really see it, but the inside was completely transformed, which was amazing. So, so I meet this woman, and George will tell you that I'm not shy, and I'm actually pretty direct, and he's described me as intense before. And she was just like me, so it was it was great. You know, I'm like, I'm gonna love working with her. And I've known George for a long time, and we have similar design aesthetics. So, I mean, the three of us sitting in that Airstream, you know, talking about what that project could be and how it could be, you know, an international artist residency program. It could be an educational tool for the community for environmental, different ways of living, financial freedom, you know. I mean, I knew I was in.
And I mean, it's funded by a couple with the husband, Kevin Riley runs Lamar, which I don't know if y'all familiar, the billboard, all the. Yeah. So, it's what, a $1.15 billion a year company that's funding a project in Arneville.
That's awesome.
That's a pretty big aha moment for us.
Yeah.
That's great. All right, so let's have a little fun then. So I don't know if you guys remember this from the other day, but this is my favorite question. We're just gonna play a game. You can't do what you're doing now. You have 7 days to rebuild a business. Can't be the same business, and you have $1,000. That's it. Those are the rules. $1,000, 7 days to start a business. Can't be the same business. What do you do? We'll start with you guys. You don't have to do it collectively.
Okay, well,
You can't pull your money either. Y'all don't get to pull
what?
your money. No pulling money.
No pulling
You're on your
money
own.
together?
Correct. No pulling money. You're on your own.
You have to.
$1,000, 7 days.
So I would do basically I don't know how to describe this, almost like a menu of cultural assets within Louisiana. Like almost, I don't want to say like a talent company, not, you know, but a company that looks at musicians, looks at, I guess it's kind of like a talent company, you know, where you can actually put together these packages and that represents an authentic Louisiana, not what we see on reality television. You know, that's.
There's nothing authentic on reality
But
television.
my point,
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. Okay, very cool.
Like you would be a product, right? You guys would be a product 'cause it's authentic, it's real, and it's.
But Stephanie's not there anymore. She has $1,000
Oh,
in
yeah,
7 days. Sorry. Carlos can still be there, but Stephanie's out.
Yeah, oh,
It
gosh.
can't be analytics either.
Oh, yeah.
I could,
You just can't do beer.
Oh.
That's it.
well, I could do something beer related though. So if I wanted to actually
That was
make
culturally
money in this
related, but it
industry,
wasn't
I
the
was
same
joking.
business.
If I wanted to make money faster, I'd actually, I would consider a cooperage business for kegs. Because I remember thinking, well, I shouldn't say we don't own our own kegs. So that's, I think now there's a lot more competition out there. So I know it's not a very creative answer, but I thought about it while I'm sending in reports and writing the checks. I'm like, man, if I wanted to make money, I should be leasing kegs. I should be leasing kegs. So kegs are pretty much when you're getting beer on draft. It's stainless steel, they're expensive. If you're fortunate enough to have enough capital to own your own, it's great. But there are companies out there that will do lease or pay per fill. And we actually have a relationship going. I know it's crazy, but I thought that would be something.
I'm
I might
actually
do.
taking notes.
I'm not bad.
So I can
Yeah,
start that,
it's
send it right back to you.
or logistics, you know.
Yeah.
I'm pretty decent at that kind of stuff. So
Very cool.
I know it's not sexy, but
Making money is, creative ways of starting businesses is always sexy. What the business is doesn't necessarily have to be, right? So one time I had a mentor who said, you know, he was in porta pots. So I guess it would be similar to Richard Courtney, right? So it said porta potties. I said, why are you in porta potties? Like, that sounds terrible. He said, that's exactly why I'm in it, because nobody else wants to be. I went, genius, smartest guy I know, right there. Can you change yours?
He already has his idea, he's
Yeah, go in a couple more seconds to really come up with a good one.
If y'all do this, please just pull me in, right? So porta potties are terrible. They smell terrible anywhere you go. We're in France, and I went into, it's a toilette sèche, which is a dry toilet. So you go in, they have little bucket with sawdust, and you do your business and you put the sawdust in there, right?
It's like a cat.
And then they. So I was thinking, So the idea of taking shipping containers, putting two together, and then you basically slap them sort of off. And so it goes into the shipping container where they already have the sawdust in there, but and call it, and it's environmentally friendly and all that, and you have a big pea pod in there, and with 2 peas, you just call it 2 peas in a pod.
We got the branding down for
No,
sure.
come on.
You're totally gonna see that in news in a couple of years. You know that. You can go out and check it out.
Again, it may not be sexy, but I actually think it is. I like it. I like it.
2 peas in a pod. And all environmentally friendly products on the inside.
Good idea. Joe, $1,000, 7 days.
So mine is extremely boring. The job I'm in now is way too high paced, and there's gunfire all the time. So I need something low key. I'm from Church Point. It's a very, very small town. We only have 3 red lights though, so it's 2 up from y'all. But I've always wanted to revitalize it and make it the town that you would go to. What Crowley dreamed it would be the New York of Louisiana. In some kind of way, I would like to take that money and revitalize it so that businesses would want to come there. Businesses that you not normally would think there would want to redo the whole shopping center and make it a reason to come there. And then it turns into retail spaces is a have to have, and then land is a have to have. And for $1,000, I could buy a lot in Church Point right now, believe it or not.
We're gonna need to get you a couple more stoplights. That's for
That's
sure.
right.
You're not
That's
running traffic
right.
there. So we're good on time actually. So let's do this, and we'll start back with Joe again. You get 12 months off, paid, whatever. Right? You got nothing to do, but you got to go learn something. You got to study something. You have 12 months off. What is the one thing you would spend the next 12 months studying so that you could master?
Wow. In my field or just in general?
Tell me.
I love golf. I'm terrible. If I get 12 months paid, I will be a pro. Just because I'm tired of going here and there. I just want peace to go here. That's it. That's all I want. Just to think about nothing else. Just peace and that. Simple, boring, I know, but chase a golf ball all day and you'll understand what
I guess if my business was gunfire all the time, golf and the quiet would probably be a good thing for 12 months. It may not be as much studying as just relaxation. So
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Stephanie, 12 months, you can study anything you want. What and why?
I have 2 scenarios, though. I'm thinking this is 4, but I have 2. I'm thinking if it's just for me and I want to study anything, I would study language because even in high school and beyond, in college, I study and I'm terrible at it. I took years of German and French and I can't do anything. So I would love to go to one of those immersion courses. That may be coming down just for myself, but not to make money. And the other one, I'm thinking if I really had that kind of time, would be more to get more in depth in the brewing field. I did get a degree, but didn't have the full-on experience on that side, and I don't get a lot of time. I don't actually get to brew or do some of those things that I would like to do. So if I could have just that time where I didn't have to do anything else, I think I would be interested in that too. So I don't know, I could study French and try to become get a master brewer.
You could probably do both of those at the same time.
I could do
I feel
that.
like if you brew
Or I'm gonna study German, then I
Yeah.
could put it all together.
if you're taste testing, somehow I feel like your language skills improve automatically as well.
So that would be great because then when our French groups come in, then you could do all the.
I don't see it happening. I tried, and my mom is late mom is Cajun, but she never speak French to us. But my husband, both his parents are Cajun, but they still nobody but the parents, learn the. It's great that a younger generation does. Took an interest, and now in school you can have French immersion, which my nieces and nephew go to. But I'm just terrible at it. Even I lived in Germany. I'm still terrible at it. I tried.
It's all good. All right, 12 months, guys. What do y'all?
So for me, and you're probably going to agree with this, because we're dealing with all these groups coming in that speak French, you would think that I am fluent.
You would think.
You would think. And, so contracts, I find myself in front of a contract, reading that, and I can read, for the most part, I still have to look things up. And being in meetings where I'm agreeing to things and thinking like, yeah, I hope I'm not agreeing to something. But focusing, doing immersion, focusing specifically on French would have to be it, just so that way I can use it with what I'm doing now. And architecture, I would love to study the architecture
great.
piece. Yeah. So,
I can
okay.
teach you. Okay, don't give up, because I felt the same way as you, but I'm now 20% fluent in French according to Duolingo. And I always feel like it's such an achievement. I get one of those badges.
20%.
Yeah. No, seriously though, I'm actually planning on doing this within the next year. I've been studying genealogy a lot. Like I did an AncestryDNA.com test, and I've been tracing back my family. And I went to France 2 years ago. And ironically, I spent 4 weeks in Italy and only 1 in France. But after that 1 week in France, I really wish I had spent more time there. I always knew my heritage was French, but it was like so undeniably surreal when I was there, because people sounded exactly like my relatives, or they looked exactly like them, or they looked exactly like them. So if I could go to the places where I've traced my ancestors back to and do a photographic journey, because I love photography, and meet some of those people and understand the landscape and how they live upon it, that would be amazing. So,
I think it's super interesting how, you have all these serious business people, but everything that they want to do is so creative and explorative and really, kind of seeking of self. And so there's a real, when we talk about like work-life balance and how to not burn out at work, these are the things that we also need to be dedicating time to as well. So, all right, so I'm getting the hook a little bit, but I want to make sure
it's over. I want to thank everybody for coming. Everybody's waiting in the hallway for you. This has been an amazing panel, and we've learned so much. So,
Yeah,
any
give these
last
guys
parting
a
words?
seriously.